Alright, I'm going to demonstrate here how to use Desk CNC to cut out multiple profiles out of foam using a CNC Hotwire foam cutter. Alright, so I've gone ahead and I've opened Desk CNC. Then I'm going to go to File, Foam Cutter, top left, large DXF contour. Alrighty, and I've got 4 profiles here that we're going to want to cut out. And basically I'm just going to go ahead and lower the bottom window and make it smaller, because really we're only concerned about the top window right now. The top window is for when you want to cut out the same profile on each side of the foam block, and that's what we're going to be doing with these moldings here. Alrighty, and one other thing to keep in mind here when you're using larger profiles or multiple profiles, it's really handy to be able to change your view here in Desk CNC. So if you hold down the Shift key, then you can move your mouse around and it'll move around the screen. And alternately, if you hold down your Control key and then left click and move your mouse up and down, you can zoom in and out. And that's very handy as well. Oh, and I forgot to mention, when you hold down your Shift key, you have to left mouse click and then move your mouse around. And that's pretty critical to be able to do this when you have a really long row of shapes and you need to be able to zoom in and zoom out and get a better view. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to set the start and depart point for all these profiles here, and that basically tells Desk CNC where we like the wire to start cutting out the profile and leave the profile, because the way it works is the wire will travel on one half of the profile on the way to the end of the cut, and it'll travel on the other half of the profile, or the other part of the profile on the return trip. So this will become a little more clear here as we proceed. So we go select all. Actually, first thing we're going to want to do here is take a look at the information tags. Oh, perfect. Yeah, this is good. You have to look at the information tags because these have to be in a row from left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4 rather. And since I looked at the information tags, I can see that it goes from 1 to 3 to 2 to 4. And that's not going to be the correct order to cut these profiles out. It needs to start at 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4. So what we do, so we go select all, edit DXF, then set machining order, 1 to 4. And this is kind of handy because if you have a huge long line, like 30 profiles, and you get to 15 and you make a mistake, you can start at 15. So we're going to start at 1. And down here it says click on the region in sequence starting with 1. So we're going to click on number 1. Then it says click next sequence, number 2. So we're going to click on the next one, and it changes to a 2. And so on. We're going to click on number 3. And see, I clicked it, but it didn't quite change. So we need to make sure we click on it. And yep, so it should say number 4, but that's the last one. So now we're done. So it goes 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's great. So we'll go select all again, edit DXF, and we're going to go change start and depart. And now we're gonna show Desk CNC where we'd like the wire to go through these profiles. So we can left click, and that's where Desk CNC is going to enter the profile. and then we right click, and that's where it's going to exit the profile. And if we back up here, we can see that the top part of the profile is green and the bottom part is blue. So that indicates that the wire is going to travel through the bottom first and then come back on the return trip on the green portion. And all these lines here, we don't have to worry about that. We're not there yet, so that's not going to be a problem. And actually, this isn't going to work for me though. I'd rather the wire travel through the top portion first and then come back on the bottom. And the reason for that is, as far as when it comes to moldings and stuff like that, it'll cut the profiles out a lot more square if we cut the tops out first and then come along the bottom to end the cut. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go select all, edit DXF, reverse direction of selected regions, and what that is going to do, it just tells Desk CNC to go the opposite direction. So we'll try that again. Select all, change start to part. So we will right click where we'd like the wire to enter the foam shape, and we will, we'll left click to enter, right click to depart, and if we back up, we can see that, that looks great. It's gonna cut out the top part first, and then come back on the bottom. Okay, so then we want to left click on the next profile where we'd like the wire to enter, and we will right click where we'd like the wire to exit the profile, left click where we'd like it to enter, right click where we'd like it to exit the next profile, and left click where we'd like it to enter the last profile, and left click, right click where we'd like it to exit or stop the start trip on the last profile. So we can see here that the tops are all blue and the bottom of the profile is green. So that tells us that the wire is going to travel around the tops first, all the way along. And on the return trip, it'll cut out the bottom of the profiles and return to the starting point there. And you can see here I kind of did it different ways for the different profiles as far as where to start and depart. If I was actually cutting these moldings out, I'd probably do it here, just to prevent the shape from burning, because it would kind of linger in this tight angle here for a second, but that's gives you the general idea anyways. Okay, so that looks great, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to Toolpath, 4-axis foam cut, feed rate of 30, so it'll run at 30 inches a minute, approach height of 0, that's going to work great. And then we click create, and then we're ready to save our file. So you go to Toolpath, run machine, and of course save your file where you can find it. And as I mentioned before, I like to use Google Drive, and the reason for that is I can save it on my laptop and it'll be available on the computer I use at the shop that runs the CNC Hotwire. Okay. Alrighty, so that is saved. And the G code, you can see, kind of have an idea of what's going to happen when you look at these shapes here. You can kind of see the profiles that'll be cut out in the path of the wire. And below here you can see the G code, and that's it. You take that file that you saved and load it into Mach 3, and you'll have a file with multiple shapes ready to be cut. Alright, that's the basics for cutting multiple shapes. I hope this video was helpful for you.